Hello friends, Cheryl here with Inked Pulp, and we've got a fun day planned. We're going to work on some handmade washi tapes, and I had made a whole bunch of them not recently, but over the last couple of years, and I haven't really used them a lot, and I realize it's because they're just too blah. I have all of these are all stickers on the back, and what these are from, they're from my labels, my mailing labels. When I print them out to do shipments, I have to cut off part of the, well, that one was done backwards. Sticky part is on this side. It's the part that I cut off, and I didn't want to just throw them away, so I started saving them. Come on. These were made so long ago, and I'm having a hard time opening them up. And so I saved these, and I put things like napkins. There we go. That's the sticky part. So I put things like napkins and paper and fabric and just different things on the front of them. And they're different sizes too, because it depends on what I cut off. And so I have this whole pile. I've used some of them, but and I've given some away in Happy Mail. But I thought, we really need to jazz these up because I could do a whole lot more with them. Put this over here. If they were just a little bit more interesting, I guess is the right word. So I'm going to pull this over here. So we're going to start this little exercise today with jazzing these up, and I'm actually going to pull them really close together because when I do the stamping, I want it to go one over, from one over the top to the other. Let's see, what else do I have here? How about this one? There we go. And so I'm going to do that, and then we're going to look at making some from scratch. And I also have, this is white sticker paper. This happens to be from Silhouette, but you can certainly get it on Amazon and get it from anywhere. But you can make a whole sheet of these. Let me pull this out. You see, and we may make one of these, kind of like a master board, and then you cut it up. So it's got the peel off sticker stuff on the back, and then it's just all, a white paper. So we could collage on that and do some stamping. So maybe we'll do one of those. We'll see. But the main point of this exercise for me was that I had all of these pieces of label paper that I had cut off because the labels were too big for my packages. So I used my paper cutter and I cut them off, and I just haven't used them. So let's, and I have these distress oxides here, but I also have archival ink. This is Vintage Photo. That is Hickory Smoke, Ground Espresso, and Black Soot. And the reason I like these over the distress oxides or inks is because these are permanent. So if I decide to spray something over the top of these, once I get them stamped, then it's not going to hurt anything. I mean, the ink isn't going to run. So I may use these, and I'll show you what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to take a stamp set like this one, This is the Stampers Anonymous Field Notes. And I'm going to take this and ink up the whole thing. I want to ink up the entire thing. I may not do it all in Vintage Photo. I may, maybe I will for this first one. Because what I could do is put some black soot on here, some but if we ink up the whole thing and stamp the entire thing, it's going to go across those labels. And it's going to give us an interesting look. These are small pads. I probably needed something bigger for this. I've got a black one that's large, and I may come back with that one after we do this one. All right, so here's this. Let me put these back together again. And I probably should put down a piece of like packing paper to stamp off on, but I don't have it ready, so I'll put this one aside. So I am just going to put this down, burnish it real well. Oh, nice. Oh, nice. That worked. That really worked well. I'll pick them up and show it to you here in a second once I get this second stamping done here. So those are done. Now let's do this one. Oh, very nice. Do you see all the stamping on that now? So that was just the plain old colors. Now, some of these are wide, and I can cut them down if I don't want it that wide. I like to leave them because I don't know what I'm going to need. But look at how cool that is. This is a napkin. Another napkin. Got some cool numbers down here. Piece of music paper. I moved it slightly, so I got some blurred lines, but that's okay. Now, this was just that plain pattern in the background, and look at how interesting it is now. And we're not done yet. This one was a little darker. I probably need to stamp that with black soot. Look at that. Isn't that just cool? And then this one, which is just a piece of scrapbook paper. Okay, so let's put these. Let's see here. Let me pick these up and wipe off my desk. And then I think what I might do is jump up real quick. Actually, I'll pause the video. Yeah, that stained. That permanent ink is permanent. And I don't want to use alcohol on here because I think it'll rub the color off. So let me jump up and go get some packing paper, and we'll put that down so when I have, stamping off the edges, it'll go onto the packing paper. So I will be right back. All right, I'm back, and I found a big black archival ink. So I think I'm going to leave these for now, not do anything else with these. I really kind of like them. We can, one of the things that I want to do is add some inks to these. So we'll look at that after a bit. Oh, here's a nice long one. Another napkin. I want to get ones that aren't too dark because I think they will not show the ink as well. Well, maybe the black they would, but let's see. Here's one I used a little bit of. The pink one. And again, I'm going to put these close together. Let's do just those. And this time, let's use a different stamp set. Oh, this one's got a lot of dates on it. So let's try this one with all the different dates. But yeah, if you print your labels individually on your printer at home and you end up with all those little offcuts, this is a great way. This is a brand new stamp pad, by the way, so it should be inking up really, really well. All right. Now, let's put this back together how I had it. They don't like to stay in place while you're working on top of them. Most of them are shorter, but I do have some that are longer. All right, let's okay. That didn't give us a very dark. And this was a brand new stamp pad, but you know what? It's also a pretty new stamp set. So what I may need to do, and I usually always do this before I use them, I take a little sandpaper and run across them. Let's see if this works any better. Because that ink is brand spanking new. Oh yeah, that was better. So we've got Paris, and you've got some little dates showing through there. It's still not super dark, though. So maybe we'll have to try a different pad or a different stamp set or something. There we go. We got a little bit of it. It's not real clear. It's not real dark, which I'm not loving. So let's go to my all-time favorite stamps and see if I can find another one that will give us some better. Oh yeah, this one gives us a lot better. It may be that stamp, that particular stamp. But this is like that German text, you know, the Gothic kind of text. So there's that. So you don't have to use the big stamps, although I like them. So here's some regular, just little text. Okay, there's those. Much better. So I think what I'm learning here is the lighter the colors, the better the stamping. Although you can see the stamping on the other ones. I'm going to put that big one away. You can see it. Whew. Oh, excuse me, you guys. That just came out of nowhere. There we go. So this one's got a lot of text on it. this batch. Oh, very cool. Very cool. Now let's do one that is a shape. Yes, I love that. See how we've just got some little circles. And isn't that just such a nice contrast to just the plain labels that I had just covered with paper? These are ready to go. I'm ready. I'm excited to use these actually. So we're going to do this, and then I'm going to do another thing here. So yeah, this paper isn't stamping as well. It must be the finish on the papers, depending on what it is. Hey, I need to pause you guys for just 1 second. I need to mute. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. My sneeze made my nose run. Now, let's take, I don't know if I want to put red on that one, but I've got this little, just little circles. And I thought, oh, wouldn't a pop of red? There we go. Wouldn't that just be kind of cool? There we go. There's some red. And again, if you cut these up, you aren't going to see, and I probably wouldn't use it, completely that wide. I'd probably thin it down some. But I'm just using the size that I got from the leftovers of the labels. Okay. Now I don't think I'll put it on the pink one. There we go. We got a little bit of red on there. I've got all sorts of colors in here. We could try some fern green. Let's look at the ruler that I've got here with the fern. Oh yeah, that's nice. There we go. You guys see that ruler right there? It's all kind of in the background, but it doesn't matter because it's the cumulative, that we're looking at. It's like everything together. So there's that. Let's put a little green on this one. Go right down the middle with that one. And then across the bottom. All right. So you can use your different colors. Now you could come along on these and put some lace on them. I probably should get out a blue on this one. But that's okay. We'll use the green. And then this one. This is napkin, and it actually takes the ink really well. All right, there are those. Now, the other thing I was going to do, so those are kind of fun. They've just got all kinds of stamps on them. Now, the other thing that we could do is take a Sharpie. Look at my hands. Baby wipe. I probably should have put on gloves before I did this because I'm using permanent inks, but that's all right. And look at this yummy background that we're getting here. Okay, so I can take my Sharpie and I can just make, some marks on here. I can put some spirals on here. So we can do a lot of mark making. Put some little dots. And again, when you, cut this up, it's going to look very different. Okay. And if I had a different color Sharpie here, I could put different colors on there. In fact, I do have some different color Sharpies. All right, I need to pause you one more time. I'm sorry, that sneeze just brought out my runny nose. Hold on. Okay, while I was blowing my nose, I got some Sharpies. So I have got all of these Sharpies, and I was looking for a blue one. So I'm going to go back over that spiral. Okay, one here. So there are those spirals. Okay, and then, if I want to do the the dots, I can. If I want to use a different color, I got red in here. I've got every color under the sun in here. And they're all Sharpies. So anyway, isn't that a fun washi tape? And then if I cut that down the middle, not quite down the middle, but pretty close. Not close at all. There we go. All right, there you go. And if we wanted to ink up the edges, we could certainly do that. So any number of things. I want to play with some paints here. We can, there it is. Let's use ground espresso. I've never had ground espresso before, so I've never used this color. So that's pretty. Reminds me a lot of scorched timber. So before you go to use these little washi tapes, you could ink up the edges. And then you've got a nice little washi tape. It's got all sorts of stuff on it. And you can tear these and get just little strips. I could cut it down even thinner if I wanted to get just a real thin strip. You see what inking the edges does, how much different that looks. So lots of fun things there. Okay, we can stamp with different colors, do some mark making, just anything to make. Now this one I think would look good with Let me find my field notes again. With the field notes, I think there we go. Look at that. It's got some labels now. And I'm not using a stamping block, but you certainly could. There, we got some. Could have done those in red. But now we've got some labels on there. So you can add to your, I love that one. I love how that looks. Let's put this back in here. Okay, so that's an idea of how you can use individual stamps, how you can use a sheet of stamps like this one that has a lot in it. You can get individual stamps out of the way here. And then the other thing that I wanted to do, so I've got all of these that I can play with and I can jazz them up and really make them fun pieces of washi tape. So we've already got some here. I love that one. That one's cool. And that one. Now, the other thing you can do is put stickers on these if you want to. I mean, you can do anything on these. I also thought about putting some of the distressed glazes on there and heat embossing that on, but I don't want to get too crazy here. There's just so many things you can do. But let's play with a collage. And I've got this file folder here of old vintage papers that a friend of mine sent me. And I want to use pieces out of this folder because I haven't really been using it. And I can't, I've got to get over this thing about hoarding. So I want to get more, like stuff like this. Okay, I'm going to tear this though. I don't want that big a piece. And so I'm just going to go through here and collage. I'll start up here in this corner. And this is sticker paper. So, however I cut this into strips for washi tape, it will. There we go. There's that. Up there. And I'm just going to quickly fill this up. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm just going to take some pages out of this old ephemera. Crafty Shamrock, if you're watching, yes, this is the stuff that you sent me. I love it, but I never really use it. And so I thought, it's not going to do me any good. It's funny. I went to see my friend Crafty Shamrock recently. I went to the state she lives in. And we did a project where we went through her stash, her whole craft room, and we reorganized everything for her, put stuff in bins and put like stuff together. And it was, I was there for a week and we worked on it every day I was there. Not all day, but we did work on it every day. And, oh, that's pretty. I don't want to use that on here, but that's pretty. And, we kept saying, we have all this stuff and we just collect it and collect it and collect it. And I am bound and determined that I am going to start using my stuff. I'm not going to keep hoarding it because, if I hoard it, it just sits. And then I get more and more and more. And I'm now having to go through my room and clean it out because I just have too much stuff. So this is actually helping me to clean out a bit. There's a bank statement or a check or something. So I'm just going to use stuff out of this folder. I don't know what this was from, but I used the top part of it for something else. But I love all the different colors. Those have mushrooms on them. I don't want to. Here we go. That was already torn. And so let's take off some of the white edges. I don't want those. Okay. But if we put that right there, and then I'll cut that off. And then once we get this done, before we cut it into washi tape strips, I want to put some ink on it, and then I want to do some stamping. Okay, we've only got a couple more spots here. Let's see. Our Little Folks' magazines. Aww. Let's take this. Okay. We'll put this down right here. I'll have to cut a little bit of it off, but that's okay. Little Mr. By and By. I've never heard of that poem before. Have any of you? Okay, let's keep going here. That's a fun piece to stamp on. I don't want those. Oh, here we go. Here we go. We'll put that right up there. So in this case, I'm only putting glue where I need it because I know this is going to hang over quite a bit. Okay, and one more piece, and then we'll have our God Bless America. I don't know if that's the one I want to use. Not that I don't love our country, but I'm just not sure that's what I want to put. Come on. Too much stuff on my desk. It's all falling off. So there's that. Just right where that fold is perfect. Now you'll notice that some edges I'm leaving straight, some I am tearing. I just want this to be all just a mishmash of stuff. Okay. So there we go, Miss Cheryl. I used up some of your yumminess that you sent me. Thank you so much. I've still got a whole bunch left, but I did use some of it. All right, what did I do with that other little, oh no, there it is. All right. So now we've got the, whoops. Okay. We've got that. Let's go around and trim it up now. Now you could cut these out into label shapes. You could keep them as, washi strips. You really, when they're on a full sheet like this, you can do just about anything with them. You can run them through a die cut and make labels out of them if you have or a file folder die if you have one. These would be cute as file folders. And then, of course, I am going to keep all these little pieces. Because you just never know when you need a little piece. All right. Now, I'm not going to ink around the edges at this point because I don't know how I'm going to cut it up. And I don't know if I just don't know. I don't know. I'll leave the inking to the point at which I use it. But there we go. Isn't that a fun collage? So now let's put some ink on here. Dang, I had too many things on my desk and I hit the mouse and it stopped the recording. So here's where we are. I did some blueprint sketch and we'll add some other colors so you'll see this at work. But I put some ink on and now I'm drying it, and I'm going to pause us so that you don't have to listen to the dryer and you don't have to sit here and wait till I get this dry. So I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I don't know why my camera does that so often. It'll just stop recording and I have to splice the pieces together. All right, so we have that. What other color would we like to put on here? How about, well, got peeled paint. That's one of my favorites. Let's do some peeled paint. And then maybe we can put a brown on there. All right, let's get some water on this. The one thing I don't like about the blue is that it's all just sort of in circles on here. I like it a little bit more random. And I'm not going to mop that up with the paper. That's not enough. All right, so here's this. And what I want to do is make sure that we... Okay. So we have that. I'm going to sop up some of this ink. Oh, I'm really liking those colors. The last thing I want to do is take some brown. What color brown do I want? I have a rusty hinge. No, I might want something a little darker. Let's see what else I have up here. I have the scorched timber, frayed burlap, walnut stain. Let's do walnut stain. And what I want to do is take the walnut stain, and I want a water brush. It doesn't have water in it, but that's okay, because I want to go... No, that one's way too small. I want to go across the top. There we go. And I just want to put some drips on here that will flow down, and we can spray a little more water on here, but I just want to get some random drips going down here. Okay, let's put a little... Okay. There we go. Let's do a little more here. And a little more like right here. So because these are distressed, they are, they are blending into each other, but that's okay. I like it. I like it a lot. All right. So there's that. I probably should have done that with black because it would have come out gray, but I'm not going to go back now and do it. Look at, you can see a little bit of the drippage here. I like that. You can see it down here, so you can see it. It's just very subtle. All right, let's pause again while I dry, and then we'll come back. All right, we're all dry. I'm really loving this. I mean, look down here where the drips came down and brought the blue, and they made kind of a purpley color, and you've got drips coming in from the side here. I love this piece at the top. So it really has turned out to be a fun page. Now, what I'm going to do on this one, I've got a big stamp here, and I hope that this one is going to stamp nice and clear for me. What I'm going to do, this is the first time I'm using this, so this is from Glow Blend, by the way. I am going to take some sandpaper. Have y'all heard that trick? Take a little bit of sandpaper. It goes on these silicone stamps, sometimes the first time you use them, they don't work so great. So I'm going to take a piece of, doesn't take a lot, just enough to rough it up so the ink will stick to it. These are Glow Blend, so they should be good stamps. But yeah, just a little bit of sandpaper over these. Give them a little bit of tooth to hang on to that ink. All right, there's that. Blow it all off. Okay, I'm going to try this archival ink again because this is a brand new stamp pad and it should work pretty well. Now, what I want to do is make sure I get it on quick enough that it doesn't all dry up on me. And we'll put this one down. And then we'll see if we need... Did you see that little tiny spider crawling on my desk? I work down in the basement, so those little critters come in under the garage door sometimes. This was the old original garage on the house. It's not anymore. It's just the basement. Our garage is upstairs. Okay. Let's put this down. I should get a brayer, but I think this will work. Oh yeah. That's working very nicely. Okay, right up here it didn't work as well, but that's where I first put the ink, and so it probably had dried out. I can put a little more there, but look at that. Isn't that cool? All the different pieces by using the entire stamp. You can get the whole thing at once without having to... Okay, let's go back into this little section. There we go. All right, where else? We don't have much here. Let's turn it. Let's take this, looks like a check maybe, or a government something. Just stick that on there. Perfect. You can't read anything that it says, but you certainly have the... That's really cool. That's really cool. Look at that. So now if we cut that up into strips, that would make really, really cool washi tape. But we're going to do two more things here. I do want to put a few other stamps, and I'm not going to go with any other colors since we have the color in the background. But here we go. Here's some numbers. There we go. But if we put some numbers on here, there we go. And again, remember, this is going to be all cut up, so you can't really, look at it and think, oh, you're missing some in this spot or this spot, because like I said, it's going to be all cut up. Okay, let's see where else. Anywhere else we want some numbers? How about right down here? Okay, so there's some numbers. What else do I have? I have some of these, this herringbone. Oh, that's kind of cool. So the point here is just, go through with your various stamps and fill it in until you like it, remembering that it is going to be cut up. So you're not going to have everything all together. Okay. Let's do one more right here. All right, there's the herringbone. Now, I also have I think that's all I want out of here. I also have another stamp set that is fairly new to me. I think I got this in Happy Mail, if I'm not mistaken, or something that I purchased. I have these larger numbers. And so I think I want to put some of these larger numbers on here. This is a cute little box. This is where I put my stamps that don't have backing anymore, and they're ones that I use a lot. Okay, let's take number 5. And let me get... Let me get a stamp for these. Oops. I guess it helps if you put it on the right way. And I've got crusties on the other side, so sometimes I put glue stick on them if they're not sticking real well anymore. Oh, there we go. There we go. Number 5. Let's do this. Where did my stamp off paper? There it is. Okay. How about a 3? There we go. And how about if we go right down here beside the... There we go. So we've got 3 and a 5. We'll do the same thing up here. A 3 and a 5. Let's put another 3 down here. That one's stamped really nice. And a 3 up here. Let's put a couple more numbers on here. And again, remember, this is all going to get, you may not even see that it's a number by the time they get caught up. Let's do a number 8. Okay. There we go. Yeah, let's do some this way. There we go. Let's do just a couple more. Let's do a number 2. And then that'll be enough with the numbers, enough with the stamping, and then I want to do some splatters. $32. Let's do 28. And a 2 there. I think that's good. You don't need to have numbers over every single part. So let me do this. And let's do this to stamp off whatever we have. There we go. And look at that. And so I'm going to dry real quick. I'm not going to put you on pause. All right. Now let's get... Well, I just had this sinking feeling that I forgot to take you off of pause, but I didn't. All right, this is fun. Let's get my watercolors out here. I might do some black and some white and some gold. I might do a little bit of all of it, but we'll see. Let's see if I have a different brush in here. There we go. There's a round brush. That's the one I want to use. Lots of water in there. All right. Ooh, I'm liking it. Come on. All right, so there's the gold. I think that's enough. Come on. There we go. Let's do some black. And I'm going to wash my brush out in this, and then I'll just go change the water after I'm done, because I don't have any other water here to rinse my brush out. All right, so that is that one. And then I have some black India ink. But what I'm going to do before I put that on is I am going to dry this real quick, and I don't need to pause you. I don't think it's going to take all that long. These are just some spatters. We'll put some black, and then we'll see if we need white with it. I bought some white calligraphy ink. I've seen other people using it, because when I put gesso on, it's like it always fades, you know? Now, because I'm putting heat on here and it heats up the glue, I've got a couple spots where it's coming up. When it's all done, I will go through and make sure everything is down real good. All right. So this is Liquitex Professional Acrylic Ink. All right, that's enough of that. I don't want to overdo it, although I keep reminding myself that, we're not looking at this in the whole. We're looking at it as, what's it going to look like when it's all cut up. But I still think that's enough of the splatters. I don't want to overdo it. Now, I do think I'm going to put a little bit of white on here as well. But let's dry it first. This ink dries pretty quickly. Now, unlike a masterboard, I probably would not go through and put a lot of focal images on this or bigger images because we're going to cut it down into strips. And, a masterboard is cutting into tags and bigger pieces. So, you can have those bigger images on there. So I won't put any of that on. This is calligraphy ink. I have not used it yet. This is my first time. But what I'm hoping is that it will stay. Come on. You have to get just the right form when you do this. And I'm afraid of splattering it all over my desk. So all right. That's good. Let me rinse that out. We'll dry this and then we'll cut off a couple of strips. I know we're getting long in this video, so I don't want to go too long, but we'll cut off a couple of strips and see what they look like. Fun washi tape. So we made this one kind of grungy. Yes, I do like this calligraphy ink better than gesso. Because on gesso, those water-soluble colors, the distress inks and that, they absorb the color. Where this, look at that, that stays white. And I really like that. So, whoops. All right. Now comes the test. Let's see, this is about 8.5 wide. So let's do a 1/2 inch strip. Let's go to 8 inches. And look at that as a washi strip. Is that not cool? If you put that down the side of a page, if you had a page and you put that down the side of a page, look at how cool that looks. Okay, that's a 1/2 inch. Let's do 3/4 of an inch. A little bit wider. And even still, look at how cool that is when you get it cut up. I love it. Now, I'm not going to cut all of this up because I still have some spots to glue down, and I don't want to have to do it on individual pieces. But all you do is peel off the backing, and you've now got a piece of washi tape. So I want to do one more that I want to do 1/4 inch. So I did 1/2 inch. Let's do 1/4 inch. A real thin piece. So we can get real thin pieces as well. And so there's our handmade washi tape on a big sticker sheet. And again, if you want to cut these into little labels or other things, I think they're great as the washi tape, but you can cut them up however you want. I love it. I consider this a success. Well, hey, you guys, thanks for coming along on the ride. We have these, then we have all these other ones that I had made from, pieces of mailing label, and then we just zhuzhed them up a little bit. And I can zhuzh them up a little more if I want to put, more stuff on them. But we've got all of those. So we did a lot of washi tape today. I hope you try it. I hope you have fun with it. If you make something really cool or run across, great ideas, please let me know because I'd love to try it as well. All right, y'all. Thank you for stopping by. Love you all. Please give a thumbs up if you like this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.